I've got the YouTube. If you are online, if you're doing the online class, you can access the videos both through the online, the Section 85 class page, as well as the Facebook page. I did that so if you were struggling to find it, if it's just too, I don't see so well sometimes, and so it's easier to find them here, that's great. There's one here, and then there's one up there at the top, and then there are 3 links here that are part 1, 2, and 3. So there you go. And so that's for the online folks. I just wanted to be sure. Wait, I don't want to close tabs. Okay, I want to go back over here to Facebook, and now you can stop recording for a minute. Everybody out there, we also have Voltaire Part 1. We have Part 1. This is the lecture from Wednesday. That's online. If you missed class on Wednesday, you can go back and watch the video. And then I will put up the question for your post today, and it will be due Thursday at midnight. And today's lecture will be up by midnight tonight. This is Monday?
Right.
Good. Okay. So we'll have the video up by today's lecture will be up. The video will be up by tonight, and then you will post by Thursday at 11:55 p.m. on Thursday on Voltaire's Candide. Okay. Does that sound? Everybody knows where we are now. Okay.
I have one quick question.
Yes. One quick question.
Did you want us to post on all 3 of those things, colonialism, bending of women, and war, or just one?
Just pick something and give me. You could pick something, and I gave you a variety so you can figure out. I would like for you to refer to a line, like a specific line, and say, see, like something as simple as the tortoise and the hare. Not the tortoise and the hare. It's a fluffy comb. It's a rabbit's foot comb. It's the tortoise and the elephant unite, transform to combs, that sort of thing. That's colonialism, right? Because they had to have gotten them from somewhere else. So it could be something as simple as that. Okay.
Does it have to be one of those 3 things, or can I pick something else, as long as there is a line from the poem?
As long as you're using a line from the poem and you can make it work, sure. Go for it. Okay. And I don't report you as being as shown. Thank you. And thank you to Zach for making Mr. Piper?
It's paper.
Piper, okay. For making sure Mr. Piper showed up, yes. You must do this in honor of your relative who is an excellent theologian and philosopher and writer and all of that good stuff. Okay, most of you, oh my goodness, you've only gotten to like book 17, chapter 17, right? Or maybe 22 or 23?
14.
Online folks, unite, read the book. These guys, some of them have read all the way. This is such a funny story that I hesitate to tell you what's going on. The other class is in big trouble because they had not read for the last class, and so they're in big trouble. But we have to move ahead. We have to move ahead here because if we don't, the whole schedule gets messed up, and the only option is to meet on Friday to catch you up. So I will say this, if you have not, we will have a quiz. We'll have a quiz next time on the rest of Candide, and the next scheduled reading, which I think will be Blake, am I right? Is the next, is that right? Is Blake next on the syllabus? Okay, and so I strongly recommend that that you do well on the quiz next time, so that we don't have to meet on Friday. Okay?
The quiz is only on Candide.
Candide and Blake's poetry. Blake's poetry, warning, warning. Blake's poetry is in volume E. You're going to need the next book, okay?
For Friday too, for Wednesday too.
For Wednesday, yes, because we're supposed to finish Candide today. It's just going to be kind of difficult because y'all don't know what happened. Which is really awkward. But, okay.
Volume E, you said?
Volume E is Blake's poetry. And these are short poems. I will ask you to focus on 2. I will ask you to focus on 2 poems by Blake. You should have them just about memorized come time for the test. Blake's poetry, you should really focus on the lamb and the tiger. I do a lot with the lamb and the tiger. Okay. So, let's just kind of review here. We've got chapter 1. I have nothing to write with. I'm sorry. Please pause. I'm back, and now I have a dry erase marker. Let's just go through this, okay? We're just going to start at book 1, chapter 1, Candide, page 521. We're just going to start and go through quickly. Candide, chapter 1. We get this question. We get just kind of for the plot here. First, as we said last time, okay? Candide. We start off with Candide, who is brought up in Thunder Tentok, in the land of Westphalia, yes. We start off with the fact that we're not real sure about Candide's background. There lived in Westphalia in the castle of the Baron of Thunder Tentok, a young man on whom nature had bestowed the perfection of gentle manners. This is Candide. We've got the Baron, the Baroness, their daughter Cunigund, and Pangloss, who is the tutor. Okay, we know all of this. This is just early on in the Baron and Baroness kind of fade. Pangloss is the tutor, who, as we said, is supposed to be mocking, like, who is Pangloss an imitation of? Leibniz, yes, Leibniz. Okay, so we've got Pangloss as an imitation or a mockery of Leibniz, seeing that he argues that everything, there's no effect without a cause, there's no cause without an effect, and this is the best of all possible worlds, yes. Now, he gets kicked out of the castle of Thunder Tentok. He gets kicked out, Candide gets kicked out, they all wind up out running around, right? The Anabaptist Jacques, then, is going to help Candide on page 524. Okay. Candide has been expelled. Candide is recruited by the Bulgars, but he is saved. And then on page, let's see, page 524, he is rescued by Jacques, or helped by Jacques. Looking at, let's see, this third paragraph down. Finally, he approached a man who had just been talking to a large crowd for an hour on end. The topic was charity. Looking doubtfully at him, the orator demanded, "What are you doing here? Are you here to serve the good cause?" "There is no effect without a cause," said Candide modestly. "All events are linked by the chain of necessity and arranged for the best. I had to be driven away from Miss Cunigund. I had to run the gauntlet. I have to beg my bread until I can earn it. None of this could have happened otherwise. There is no other way for life to happen than this way." And so he says, "Look here, friend," said the orator, "do you think the Pope is the Antichrist?" "I haven't considered the matter," said Candide, "but whether he is or not, I'm in need of bread." "You don't deserve any," said the other. "Away with you, you rascal, you rogue, never come near me as long as you live." Meanwhile, the orator's wife had put her head out of the window, and seeing a man who was not sure the Pope was the Antichrist, emptied over his head a pot full of scandalous. A pot full of scandalous. This is just the excesses into which women are led by religious zeal.
Okay.
I mean, y'all don't think this is fun. You don't know what those words mean? Hang on. Okay, there's this speaker who's going on and on about the Pope's the Antichrist, right? You know those words, right?
Yeah, I know those ones.
Okay. Candide isn't sure that the Pope is the Antichrist, right? And so he says, well, I haven't really thought about it. Now, the speaker out there who's going on about the Pope being the Antichrist has a wife who's upstairs. And she dumps on his head a pot of scandalous. Do you know what that means?
Yeah.
Okay, yes. She dumped on his head something that I can't say, but they did not have indoor plumbing at the time. So, there you go. I mean, think about, we didn't look at Gulliver's Travels. This is scatological humor. Scatological humor. Not eschatological, it's scatological humor. So it's like bathroom jokes, okay? That's funny. Okay. The excesses into which women are led by religious zeal. I mean, that's just funny, okay? Okay, never mind. A man who had never been baptized, a good Anabaptist named Jacques, saw this cruel and heartless treatment being inflicted on one of his fellow creatures, a featherless biped possessing a soul. That is a definition of what it means to be human in one of Plato's dialogues where some guy says, okay, a man is a two-legged animal that doesn't have feathers, but he has a soul, so he's a featherless biped. So, with a soul. He took Candide home with him, washed him off, gave him bread and beer, presented him with 2 florins, and even undertook to give him a job in his Persian rug factory, for these items were widely manufactured in Holland. And so he thanks Jacques the Anabaptist. And we know what eventually happens to Jacques, right?
He dies.
He dies, yes. We have also read through what happened in chapter 4, to Pangloss, who contracted a disease, what was it? Syphilis.
Ew.
But thank goodness he did, because if he had not contracted syphilis, we would not have chocolate or cochineal. Do you remember what cochineal is? A red dye. Yes. Okay. So he's saying that, okay, all these things are necessary. They are part of the chain of necessity. It's all got to happen this way. Okay. They then conduct philosophy at sea, right? We've met Cunigund again, who had been, chapter 9. We've got to look at chapter 9 here. This is after Candide and Pangloss had been punished in an auto da fe. Candide was flogged, Pangloss was hanged in chapter 6. There's an old woman who saves Candide and reunites him with Cunigund. What has been happening in chapters 8 and 9 to Cunigund?
She was sold into sex slavery. Basically, she was made a prostitute and she was owned by like Jews, I think.
Yeah. Two guys shared her. Yes, she was sold into sex slavery and 2 guys shared her. Don Issachar, and he was, what religion is he? Jewish. And the Grand Inquisitor, who would be, we don't know that. What religion is the Grand Inquisitor?
I know.
Whoa, Roman Catholic. Okay, back with the Inquisition, right, where they're, trying people they're trying people for heresy or witchcraft or whatever, all sorts of terrible things. So they're trying all these people. Now, so who's he just taking pot shots at? Who looks bad?
Jews and Catholics.
Jews and Catholics, yes. Of course, how did the wife of the preacher look back there who was saying the Pope was the Antichrist? How did she look, too?
Like an idiot.
She looked like an idiot. So he's just shooting at everybody here, right? He thinks that the Protestants are crazy, the Catholics are crazy, the Jews are crazy. He doesn't have any sympathy for anybody except for maybe Jacques the Anabaptist, who winds up dead. So, okay. He doesn't appreciate organized religion. Why not? Perhaps. Hypocrisy? What does it result in? What? Yes.
Kill both of them.
Okay, it killed both of them. Yeah, he's in this auto da fe, and so we get Pangloss, who is hanged, and then it results in violence to human beings, right? You know, people are tortured or martyred or whatever. The Inquisition, we're thinking about. The Crusades, we could think about. We could think about what goes on during the Protestant Reformation and how people are killed. Or in Ireland, we've got the Irish and the English who are continually at each other and wind up killing each other. So we've got this whole continuous process that Voltaire is trying to highlight for us. Okay, so now, but he does it again in satire, and so we have Cunigund. Cunigund is Candide's beloved. Oops, Cunigund is the one that he loves, and she has been sold into sex slavery. Yes, shared by Don Issachar and the Grand Inquisitor. What happens to Don Issachar and the Grand Inquisitor in chapter 9? Candide kills them both. Kills them both. And so he says on 533, actually let's start at the bottom of 532, the beginning of chapter 9. This Issachar was the most choleric Hebrew seen in Israel since the Babylonian captivity. What's this, says he, you blank of a Christian, you're not satisfied with the Grand Inquisitor? Do I have to share you with this rascal too? So he's like, why do I have to share you with these, So saying, he drew a long dagger with which he always went armed, and supposing his opponent defenseless, he flung himself on Candide. But our good Westphalian had received from the old woman, along with his suit of clothes, a fine sword. Out it came, and though his manners were of the gentlest, in short order he laid the Israelites stiff and cold on the floor at the feet of the lovely Cunigund. Next page, he encounters the Grand Inquisitor, and so here now is what passed through Candide's mind. This is like the 4th or 5th paragraph down. Here now is what passed through Candide's mind in this instant of time. This is how he reasoned. If this holy man calls for help, he will certainly have me burned, and perhaps Cunigund as well. He has already had me whipped without mercy. He is my rival. I have already killed once. Why hesitate? It was a quick, clear chain of reasoning. Without giving the Inquisitor time to recover from his surprise, he ran him through and laid him beside the Jew. Here you've done it again, said Cunigund. No hope for us now. You just keep killing people. So he kills him and kills them both. And we notice the way that Voltaire talks about what he's done. He reasons through it. It's like, well, this has happened. Yeah, I can kill you. It's just. So if you combine this religion, or maybe we should say religious zeal with enlightenment, reason, we wind up with this kind of justification of killing people right and left. And I think that's what Voltaire is talking about. Where do we stop? That sort of thing. So, in deep distress, Candide, Cunigund, and the old woman reach Cadiz, and they put to sea, and they're sailing. Where are they going in chapter 10? Here is... Where are they going? Where are they heading? What do they do? Look at 534.
Cadiz? No, we went through a ton of places. I don't really know.
Okay, and it's where? Paraguay. Okay, they are headed to Paraguay. Okay, let's look at the middle of the page on 534. Throughout the crossing, it's the 2-line paragraph. Throughout the crossing, they spent a good deal of time reasoning about the philosophy of poor Pangloss. We are destined in the end for another universe, said Candide. No doubt that is the one where everything is well, for in this one it must be admitted there is some reason to grieve over our physical and moral state. I love you with all my heart, said Cunigund, but my soul is still harrowed by thoughts of what I have seen and suffered. All will be well, replied Candide. The sea of this new world is already better than those of Europe, calmer and with steadier winds. Surely it is the new world, which is the best of all possible worlds. So which direction are they sailing from Europe?
West.
They're sailing west. And so when you sail west from Europe, where do you wind up? In Americas, yes, that he calls the New World, right? And remember about the time, we're still dealing with the time of colonizing and that sort of thing. So they sail for the New World. They go west. Okay. And so what are they looking for?
Gold.
Gold? Diamonds?
Anything more valuable to sell.
Okay, so they're looking for riches. They're looking for a place where it is the best of all possible worlds. Do you think they're going to find it? His name was Cacambo, and he was very fond of his master because his master was a very good man. In hot haste, he saddled the two Andalusian steeds, and they encounter these Jesuits, right? And so, by St. James of Compostela, third line on page 541, third line, 541, said Cacambo, by St. James of Compostela, said Cacambo, you were going to make war against the Jesuits, now we'll go make war for them. I know the roads pretty well, I'll bring you to their country, and they'll be delighted to have a captain who knows the vulgar drill. So, you'll make a prodigious fortune. So he says, oh, we'll go fight for the Jesuits, that'll make us some money, and we'll be safe and all of that. They then find out that who is there with her brother. Yes, Cunegonde's brother is there. And what happens with Cunegonde's brother and Candide?
Well, when he tells him that he had told him something about he was in love with her sister, and that's when her brother got mad and he ended up killing his brother.
Yes, he says he tells him about how much he loves Cunegonde and all this, and the brother says, you're not fit to marry my sister. So then he's got to kill Cunegonde's brother. So Cunegonde's brother winds up dead. I don't know how permanent this one is. I can't remember how many of them died completely. So Candide draws his sword on page 543, thrust it up to the hilt in the baron's belly, but as he drew it forth all dripping, he began to weep. And he says, I've killed my old master, my friend, my brother-in-law. I'm the best man in the world, and here are 3 men I've killed already, and 2 of the 3 were priests. That's kind of problematic. Okay, so they now are traveling on, and they arrive at El Dorado. Okay, let's kind of skip on over here. We're going to be at chapter 18. Chapter 18 is
That was gross.
what?
Yeah.
The 2 monkeys and the 2 women.
That was,
Oh, the women and the
The
yes.
2 monkeys and
Yeah,
they
that was
ended up being their lovers.
Oh yes, they're lovers. And they think they're being attacked, but it turns out that they're their lovers, and so it's just oh my. He keeps killing people, and it's just not good, right?
Well,
those are
on that one, he just
people,
killed the monkeys, he
monkeys.
didn't kill them.
he didn't kill people. I can't remember they had people feeling.
Okay, but it's the new. I don't know. So, all right, they arrive in El Dorado. What does El Dorado mean?
It's the city of gold.
City of Gold. Yeah. Whoops. Not door. Yeah. Door is. I think that's what gold. I think that's gold. I think that means gold. Okay, so it's the city of gold, and what is it like in El Dorado?
Everything's nice, everything's calm, there's no fighting. It's like you figure that it's like the first place in the world. Everybody is, there's a lot of riches, and they pick up the gold, and the guys looking at them like you just have rocks and stones. That's nothing to us.
Okay, yes. So it's like, it's this unusual place, and we're at about chapter 18 here, and then we're going to go all the way to 20, and this is 30, okay? So they arrive at El Dorado, and it's peaceful. There's lots of gold. There are gems. What about God? page 549.
That's when he discussed, like, we asked him who do they worship, and he was like, well, we pray to God all the time. And he's like, we pray and thank God continuously. And that's kind of where it's kind of controversy, because he's like, well, how do you guys worship God? That, you guys have so many riches and it means nothing.
Okay, so they have all these riches, and so how do they worship God? Yeah, that's a question here. And this is chapter 18, so some of you haven't gotten this far, but you want to look at this chapter and think about some of the things that he's saying about God and religion. You could say that. What do they ask God for? Nothing. Why nothing?
Because they have everything. I mean,
They're just thinking.
They spend all their time thanking God because they have everything they need. So they worship God from morning to evening. Then they say, we don't pray to him at all, said the good and respectable sage. We have nothing to ask him for, since everything we need has already been granted. We thank God continually. And it's a place of peace. There's not war. They don't fight over the gold and the gems. They have plenty of them. I mean, objectively, how much gold do we all need to survive?
None.
We don't need any? She's in shock. Her book's gonna fall. Oh, what kind of world is it? What about diamonds?
They don't need any of that over there in Dorado. It was like they didn't need any of it.
Okay, they have everything they need because they've got all these gold and gems and things. But then think about how much do we really need of that?
No.
We don't need any. And so, I don't know, I think Candide Voltaire may be actually saying, look at this and think about it. They have everything they need. Well, to Candide, it looks like, sure, you've got all this gold and these gems, but they don't care about it because it's just they have a lot of it, right? And they don't really need those. So you could say, you could ask, what is he really saying about that? So, what does Candide stay there because he has all the gold that he needs there?
No, he asked the king for, they like shipped him out, made everything to ship him out, and he asked for if he could have some of the gold, gems, and the riches, and they gave it to him.
Yeah, because they don't need it, right? So he leaves with the gold and the gems and the sheep that have this beautiful fleece and all that. So he takes all this wealth with him, okay? Of course, he loses it all along the way.
Get robbed.
He gets robbed, and it's just like, why bother having all the stuff, right? We don't need all the stuff. Just causes problems. And so, and this is, if you think about how to read, okay, if you think about how to approach a text from the outside, and you can think about this in terms of television shows, usually, you can tell if a TV show is an hour or a half hour at about 27 minutes into the program. You know if it's going to go on for another 30 minutes by whether or not there's the crucial point right in the middle, right? If at 27 minutes something terrible happens, you know that it's an hour-long show. If it's a half-hour show, it'll be all wrapped up in about 27 minutes after the hour, right? And so it's the same thing with a book, okay? You can tell at the halfway point, we've got chapter 15, which would be right here. You kind of want to see what starts happening. They set sail for the New World, they go west, and so that's the midpoint. What's happening? What's he learning about this point? We can also divide it into 3 sections. We get through the first 10, and this is when they're saying, this part is in Europe. 1 through 10 is in Europe. 10 through about 20 is the sailing. Okay, so we've got this part here. And then what's going on from 20 to 30? And we're going to finish 20 through 30 for next time. I want you to be able to do really well on the quiz. For people online as well as for people in the class, we will finish this up next time. You really, 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 really need to know chapter 19 and the terrible thing that Candide witnesses and what happens that changes his mind about Pangloss's philosophy that this is the best of all possible worlds. Also, you need to be very familiar with Blake, The Lamb and the Tiger especially, but you want to read the other poems. Blake is writing poetry about social conditions, okay? So,
Start getting sick.
pardon?
When they start getting sick.
Yes, oh yes. Okay, so, real quickly, I do want to make sure everybody knows, Blake is in volume E, like elephant. Bring volume E next time.